The purpose of today is use case, share something about a real customer, and share something about the next step, as well as explain a little bit what's the portfolio of HP and why we're doing this. I hope you will ask many questions. You can do that when you feel like it. Raise your hand and I'll try and give you the audience. Now this should be able to play.
These days, information is a commodity that should be accessible.
Doe dan. Ik zeg...
Any place, anywhere, anytime, and on any device. But your information should not be accessible for anyone. Is it possible to have your own secure cloud with your own secure connection? To this end, Enbrix, in cooperation with HP, presents the Private Cloud as a Service. The Private Cloud as a Service has several advantages. Enbrix is located in Tilburg, the Netherlands. This makes our experts easy to reach in case of questions, and you know exactly where your data is stored. We also adhere to Dutch information security and privacy laws and regulations. Your data is securely stored. Enbrix is ISO certified, offers direct standalone VLAN connections to your offices, and maintains a high availability SLA with HP, thereby ensuring stability and security to its customers. One great thing about our private cloud solution is that you no longer need to invest in your own server hardware. You only pay a monthly fee for the virtual servers you actually use. So when your demand decreases, the size of your private cloud can be reduced. However, when business is booming, its size can also easily be expanded. With the help of Enbrix's customer-friendly self-service portal, your private cloud is extremely easy to manage. The portal includes features to adjust your virtual server sizes, edit networks, and more, all with minimal effort and in real time. Finally, not every firm is willing and able to move its entire IT environment to the cloud at once. For example, if you've recently made large investments in your current IT environment, you can enter our hybrid environment. You locate your physical servers in the Enbrix data center and expand them with our virtual servers. And when the time is right, you can easily migrate your physical servers to your private cloud. This solution offers you your own virtual servers within our HP Cloud System hardware, HP Helion OpenStack. Our expertise, combined with the extreme scalability of the HP hardware, allows us to offer you this totally secure private cloud for a public cloud price. However, in contrast to the public cloud, the private cloud as a service offers completely secure VLAN connections and known server locations. And do you want to make use of both? The Helion OpenStack technology makes it possible to make a secure connection between the private cloud and the public cloud. You are able to manage both from one portal. To summarize, the private cloud as a service is flexible, scalable, and completely adjustable to your requirements. And most of all, your secure cloud solution. For more information, look at our website or send us an email.
So what should I say? Does it have a business case? Is there a business behind use of OpenStack? I would say this is a compelling pitch where an enterprise has built its business on OpenStack. So is it ready for business? I would say yeah. And that's one of the nicer examples, I would say, of using cloud technology. So we all know a little bit about the promise of cloud. It should give us maximum agility. We can scale up and we can scale down, and it is fast. If we could also have that within the borders of our own country, we would have the control of our data. And of course it is because of this large ecosystem optimizing IT costs, because it makes life cheaper. And because of the high degree of automation, we can deal with high numbers of upgrades in our application landscape. So it is the perfect world. Now let's make sure that we realize that. Because the technology is there, we need to make sure that we're going to benefit. So where is cloud going? the big two themes are hybrid and open source. And I say and because it's not an or statement. Private cloud gives you optimal control. Because it's private, it doesn't give you infinite flexibility if you want to scale up or scale down. Public cloud gives you infinite flexibility when you want to scale, but it doesn't give you ultimate control. So there is areas where your specific application will fit. The beauty of the technology of OpenStack is that we have one standard open platform that you can deploy in a private environment all across to the public environment, and it is the same. So it allows for right placement of your workloads, whether you want to consume it as a service or use it internally. How do you keep control of that? Because having things in all different silos will make things a little bit more complex to maintain that overview. What's the story there? What do you do? So you have to think of this as full server, full service, full life cycle. And that starts with the end user in mind. Do it, approach it as anything as a service. So a service is something that means something to the end user. And the end user would want to consume that when he wants it, and he doesn't want to be dependent of somebody in IT that has time or no time to create his VM and load some software on it. It's not because IT doesn't want to help him, but they are a finite amount of resources, and there are 20 more other screaming customers that are more important, and by the way, you were late, so they can't help you always in time. Self-service is an easy answer to that. Other benefit, what you do yourself is probably always better because you did it yourself. It should help you, it should facilitate the consume of resources from any brand and any place. Private, public, you shouldn't be hindered by that choice. You should be able to consume those. Not only in an OpenStack world, but also the Azure world, the VMware world. So it should be almost indiscriminate of brand and flavor. Because you have legacy. You need to deal with that. So you should facilitate that. It should be open. Not only open in the sense of open source or open standards, but also open to existing proprietary legacy. Deal with that. So cater for all the brands, or the majority of brands, because all the brands is probably something that would be too expensive. But you could. If it's not available out of the box, then you can use the APIs to write your own. It should be based on an open standard, Tosca. Why? Because once you have done that service design, that is where your company IP sits. Because you designed that service, and that should not be a point of lock-in. So you should be able to export that design and use another tool if you want to. It should not be, the designer and the portal should not be the same as your deployment tooling. So HP has wonderful deployment tooling, but if you want to use, and of course it's the best, so I can't imagine why you would want to use otherwise, but if you want to use Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Salt, you should be able to do that. And you can, because it's all nicely separated by APIs. So you keep a clean architecture. And if you want to use all that flexibility, use all that speed, you need to make sure that it's fully automated. So that automation is key if you want to harvest the success of the promise of cloud. So where is it going? The open source bit. So the current web is already based on open source. You couldn't imagine the World Wide Web without. It wouldn't be there. It is the infrastructure of cloud. OpenStack is the next extension of that wonderful web. It is going to be the platform, so to say. And why am I brave enough to make that bold statement? Because it is quite a claim. Actually, the key to that bold statement is that there are 530, there was some debate about the exact number, but a humongous amount of companies contributing to OpenStack. That is a very large number of developers, project managers, program managers, and what have you, that help develop features and functionality. That is a number that is much larger than any proprietary vendor ever could afford. So the feature richness of this platform and the ability to adapt to new technologies is unprecedented. That will ensure that it has something of value for its users. The other important thing is proprietary software has brought us many good things. The guys in procurement will tell you that it also had some hiccups when they had to renegotiate the contract because of a true-up. So open source provides a lot of enterprises with a little bit of more leverage against proprietary software vendors. And apparently cheap is good. So what's HP point of view? What are we doing and why are we doing it? For obvious reasons, we believe that if everything would disappear into the Google, the Amazon, and the Azure cloud, that would not be the best thing for HP to happen. Where would we ever sell stuff? So we have a genuine interest to create an open cloud market. And yes, there is self-interest, but that self-interest will only be honored if there is an open market. So in order to ensure that we get to that point, we are investing in a community-sensitive way in OpenStack. So that means that we not only buy a seat in the board, you fork $1 million, you get a seat, but we also make sure that we get the buy-in of the community. And that's not a given. You need to be really paying attention to where the whole of the community wants to drive OpenStack, what's good for the project, and not what's good for HP. And the success of that is that we have an elected individual member in the board, which is cool. We have PTLs, and we have quite a number of PTLs. So it's really for HP a proof point that we are not just chasing our own self-interest, but trying to develop that open market. The other thing is, a lot of companies a bit scared because, yeah, well, open source, dangerous, IP infringement, you never know, could be costly legal cases. We will have none of that. HP will indemnify its customers uncapped if they use the HP software, or the HP distribution, I should say. That goes for the OpenStack bit, and that goes for the Cloud Foundry bit. So next step, what do we want to do? What is our vision? What is our starting point? We want to have a world where it's a developer-led, open source based, distributed world with ever increasing needs to store and process data on a hybrid cloud that just works. Fancy statement, marketing spend a lot of time on that. But what does that mean? That means that we want to facilitate business to adjust their applications in a more rapid pace. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Because they have programmers, they type at a certain speed, You can say that they should type faster, but that will probably not be the desired end result. So what we say is we will go to this world where you have microservices based on the Cloud Foundry framework or another framework. And those microservices enable you to use services that are infrastructure-like. So a database, which application doesn't use a database? It's as common as a server. So why isn't it a service you just can consume? So the microservices provide you with an API from which you can address the database. So the application can just call the API and say, I need you to store this record. And fine, it will store that record. The programmer does not need to concern itself anymore with, do I use Oracle calls, or do I use MySQL calls, or Postgres calls, or what have you. Can just call that same API, and whatever is under that infrastructure, nobody knows, nobody cares. You can concern yourself just with the business bits. That's where you add value. That's where you drive the speed of innovation. The beauty of the Cloud Foundry framework is that it is available in a public cloud. It is available for your private cloud. So you have choice where you run that. So then, what would we sell? Because after all, we are not a charity. So we try to make life a little bit easier. And we sell a number of things. You could buy with us the distribution, and that would go for the OpenStack distribution, as well as for the development framework, development platform, which is the Cloud Foundry framework. And those are what you would call the traditional CDs, or nowadays downloads. They run on almost every bit of tin that you have in your current floor. Doesn't need to be HP, although really can't understand why you would not, but forgive me. We'll help you with packaged solutions. So we have cloud native optimized infrastructures for compute, for storage, and we'll have infrastructure that is basically set up to use legacy, VMware-based or Hyper-V-based infrastructures that require a little bit more of management tooling, and will as well run OpenStack. So the hybrid setup. And for those who want to save some cost on their Azure bill, AWS bill, we have a Eucalyptus offering. So Eucalyptus is a Amazon framework of APIs, and you could draw that back into your own data center if you want some predictability on the cost of that. We have a managed service within our managed services department, which could be applicable for some customers. For the majority, I would say it's not. We work with partners that will provide you with that same level of capability and service that will for you. And the Mbrix use case I started with is an example of that. They will happily take your workload and take care of that. So that's a bit of the overview of the portfolio that we have, and whichever is right for you, you can give me a call and we'll have a chat about that. But there's something in there that's important for you. Is that all we do to ensure that we create that nice common playground that we all want? No, that's not. We have a program called Cloud 28. And the purpose of Cloud 28 is to help customers find services they need, so consumable services that mean anything to them. And it helps service providers to find workloads that they can service for their new customers. Why do we want to invest time and money into such a program? if the customers can't find the services they need, there is no adoption of the platform. If the service providers can't find the customers, there is no growth in the platform. So we need to kind of break that circle and solve the chicken and the egg problem. And with the HP presence in the market, we hope to make that difference. So we have an event. How am I doing on time? Okay. So we have an event, 30th of September. It's in Brussels. Last one was in Las Vegas, so this one is really close by. That will give you a glance in where we are with that technology and how we are going to market that. The launch of that program will be somewhere in December. The purpose of that program is to help ISVs find service providers, find customers. The purpose of that program is help service providers find customers and customers to find services. The end vision is that you will have in your dashboard, in your service catalog, a plugin that will allow you to search for a service on something like 120 criteria, certification of the data center, ISO something on the processes, tier 3, whatever, data center, something that has meaning for you, and you can enter the criteria that are important for you, and you will find a list of services to be used by you, potentially. So an open invite to register for that event, cloud28.eu, cloud28plus.eu. And as an example, NBRICS participates in that program. And one of the services they will provide in that program, as part of that program, is Progress. So Progress is a tool to develop applications. And they provide that as a service. So you can consume that landscape with all the tooling that goes with that from their service catalog. So I have another customer case that I want to share with you. Oh. Technology, eh? Come on. You can do it.
Benelux is a service provider which was founded in 1999. We started with co-location business 12 years ago. Today we have 3 data centers with more than 5,000 square meters data center space, and we are hosting more than 30,000 servers today. HP plays the biggest role in our business. Benelux is a service provider and very capable driven company. We have 50 employees today, 45 of them are OpenStack is very important for us because it's a standard. So this is the reason why we decided that our public cloud business is based on OpenStack standards. Okay, access-able via API, and we are flat panel for every kind of solution wants to connect to our cloud environment. For us, it was important to find a vendor and a partner who can deliver us the newest.
Not entirely sure why it's not showing.
started in 1999. We started this co-location business here in Israel. Today we have 3 data centers with more than 5,000 square meters data center space, and we are hosting more than 30,000 servers today. IT plays the biggest role in our business. Mylog as a service provider is a very technical-driven company. We have 50 employees today, and 45 of them are technical. OpenStack is a very important topic for us, and it's standard now. So this is the reason why we decided that our public cloud solution has to be based on OpenStack standards. They access-able via API and via web panel for every kind of solution that wants to connect to our cloud environment. For us, it was important to find a vendor, a partner who can deliver us the newest technology very fast in a completely flexible way.
We were using open source very heavily also in the past. And as OpenStack has evolved from a quite small project to the industry standard for cloud computing, we are going also to this path that OpenStack offers us. Our engineering team did quite a lot of research if to use OpenStack Vanilla or go with HP Helium. We decided to go for HP Helium OpenStack because of the product quality it offers to us. We are focused on enterprise customers with our cloud offerings, and HP Helium offers us that kind of product quality and service quality we need for enterprise customers.
At the OpenStack Community Day in Berlin in the middle of June, we launched our MyCloud product together with HP. And within 2 weeks, we got more than 150 customers. HP helps us a lot with our challenges we have because we are very early in this OpenStack and this HP and OpenStack project, and we get a direct connection to the development teams from HP, and we developed together a very good and straightforward roadmap to come through with HP and OpenStack. So we are very happy about this partnership with HP and with the development process of HP and OpenStack, and we are very proud of it to get it ready to market so quickly. Our company vision is that the cloud will be the future, and we have found a solution for our cloud where we can deliver all the future needs for the customers based on the solution.
So I believe we'll have 2 or 3 minutes for questions, so I would welcome questions from the audience, since you were awfully quiet during the session, so now is your time. Anybody want to order?
Go on, I'm gonna go on.
Okay, then I can't let you go. Then you have to listen to it again until you have either a question or an order. Thank you very much.